Hi there, and welcome to our Introduction to Robotics. In our first lesson, before we start looking into circuitry, we're going to look at a few basic concepts about how electricity works. The first thing we want to talk about is a concept called voltage. When we think of voltage, we're going to think of one word that associates with it. We're going to think of the word pressure. It's that force. It's going to push electricity through a conductor or any kind of material. The higher that voltage is, the more electrical pressure that we have built up. So you've probably heard this when you've seen things like batteries or anything that's going to store energy in terms of electricity will always have a voltage rating. And that tells you how much pressure it'll produce. So this example here is a 1.5 volt AA battery. So that's how much pressure you can push with a AA battery, is 1.5 volts. This is an example of battery you've probably seen. This is a 9 volt battery. So it has 9 volts of pressure, which would be more than that AA battery. This would be something you'd find in a car. This would be a 12 volt battery. And this is likely a lead acid battery. Next thing we talk about is something called current. So that's the movement of electrons. Current is simply just a measurement of the amount of electrons moving. So we have a unit of measurement that we use for that, and it's called amperes. Normally people call it amps for short. The last unit of measurement we're going to look at is something called resistance. Anytime that electricity flows through a circuit, there's always going to be something to slow it down. Now we can measure how much it's being slowed down by, and we call that the resistance of the circuit. And the unit of measurement that we would use for that is called ohms. Now, something could slow down the current by a lot, and it would have a very high resistance or high value of ohms, or it could slow it down just by a little bit and it would have a very low value of ohms. It's also symbolized using the Greek letter omega.